was there a moment ago. Oh, well, could it have gone? Well, not in that dimension. It's not in that dimension either. Oh, hello! you haven't seen my hat around, have you? I seem to have misplaced it. Where the devil could it have gone?
Look at me. I'm Merlinster Gandaldor. Derp, 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 derp.
Oh, well. It'll turn up. In the meantime, I bet you're here for the latest Reviewcap. So, let's tune in. As always, the events are recreated using the Order of the Stick, Monster for Every Season, cutout minis. Today's players: Marcel as Legolas, Chaotic Elf. Neil switching out Secundus to play a new character, Onion Buns Bumblestump, a neutral halfling. Nathaniel playing Colin Bush, Lawful Cleric of Elona. And George playing Shamil, Lawful Thief. At the Traveller's Inn at Castellan Keep, the four characters sit and discuss plans to make some coin. The Keep continues to offer bounties on humanoids and bandits. Also, there's buzz about the Provisioner who was murdered several weeks back. Not much is known other than rumors about a secret complex under the Keep and a shrine to a god of chaos. The Keep authorities in Church of Foltis are making a point of keeping it secret, so naturally everyone seems to know. Onion Buns, which he states is his mother's nickname for him, talks of his exceptional skill with a bow and his ability to shave the hair off a certain part of a flea's anatomy with an arrow at 100 yards. Colin Bush speaks of the Scepter of Elona, but Legolas keeps mum about the information he gained from the goblin about the Hobgoblin Raider, instead speaking of his contract with Caldwell, and convinces the group to meet with him. Caldwell, it turns out, thought Legolas and his companions dead, and even contracted another team who also did not return. In light of this, with Legolas playing up the deaths of his other teammates, he convinces Caldwell to up their pay to 100 royals per person, which Caldwell only agrees to if they can clean out the keep by sunset 3 days hence. He will also use his influence to arrange to have the excise fee waived by the Castellan. This is satisfactory, and the terms are agreed to. The team immediately attempts to recruit some retainers, and against the module's 50% chance of D4+1 mercs, they find 3, Lawrence, Kewen, and Fred. After an offer of 10 gold pieces up front, with 1 gold piece per day, plus plate mail, sword, shield, and sling, which are theirs to keep, the DM rolls reaction. With a +1 reaction for Shamil's charisma, and a +2 discretionary bonus for generosity, each roll comes up a 7, +3, making 10, gaining the group 3 retainers. The next day, they set out at dawn. En route, they encounter 4 goblins who emerge from the underbrush. But surprise is on the side of the group, who immediately launch ranged attacks. Onion Buns misses his shot, to which Legolas snarks that the specific anatomical bit of Flea's onion mentioned earlier must be much larger where he comes from. Then, boasting about his own prowess, he looses an arrow, but misses. Ultimately, the others manage to kill 3 of the 4, causing the remaining goblins' morale to fail, and he flees into the woods. The team opts not to give chase. They loot the 3 dead and then move forward. Arriving at Caldwell's castle, they scout around to get an idea of the size of it. Shamil considers scaling the wall to peer into windows, but ultimately they head to the main entrance, ready for combat. A goblin opens the door and calls out to them, asking if they seek shelter. 10 silver pieces each, and 20 gold for the elf. They will offer shelter and protection to all travelers. It's a goblin bed and breakfast of sorts that the group dubs Gobbo Inn. Immediately the team jumps on the opportunity. They pretend to be interested, sending 2 of the retainers up with a bag of money and instructions to force the door open and kill him at first chance. Legolas preps a magic missile spell in advance, allowing him to hold the magic arrow for up to 10 minutes. The plan goes well, and Lawrence and Fred manage to take out the goblin, though not before the goblin yells out a warning. Whether or not he was able to alert any of his fellows remains unknown. Colin Bush immediately uses a Find Trap scroll he had previously acquired, and they enter the keep. There are 2 doors, one left and one right. Immediately inside the entry hall, the group forms up and readies for a fight. Listening at one door, Onion Buns hears nothing. Legolas listens at the opposite door, but hears faint sound of coin clinking and hushed muttering. The group quietly readies. Colin senses no traps on the door. The door is locked, but Shamil attempts to pick it, costing them the round, but failing. Legolas once again boasts of the might of his spindly elven legs, but this time his bluster has weight, and he kicks the door in with a single swift strike, splintering the rotted wood. 3 goblins are in the room, ready for a fight, but the dice and circumstances go the player's way, and moving into place, they launch missile fire, including Legolas's hovering magic missile. This makes short work of the goblins. The group posts sentries at the hallway while they check the room. The goblins had a mountain of copper and silver topped with a single yellow gem perched on the coins like a cherry on a sundae. Onion Buns takes the gem.
Now, everyone was looking at me. I had to reach up to get to the cherry on the top. Got it.
But they leave the rest for now, as the coin is loose and it looks like there's at least several hundred pounds of it. As they investigate the other door, a random encounter check is made, and the group is this time surprised by a patrolling group of goblins, who launch an immediate attack, killing Lawrence. Melee is joined and fierce, costing the life of Frederick, while Kewin and Shamil take grievous wounds. But in the end, the group triumphs, even despite Bumblestump vanishing and hiding in another room when things get hairy, a fact that doesn't go unnoticed by his companions. Colin uses a scroll of Cure Light Wounds to heal Kewin, who promptly fails his morale roll and abandons the group with some choice expletives. Colin notices a stunned and bemused man watching from one of the doors. The team prepares for another battle, but he immediately parleys, saying that he has no wish to fight. Reaction is moderate. He is Auric, a traveler. The goblins of the keep offer shelter and protection for a handful of silver and copper. Legolas informs him that they are here at the behest of the rightful owner and have authority to remove trespassers. 2 more men poke their heads out from rooms wondering what's going on. Auric tells them to pack their things that they have to leave, figuring they can head towards Kalina. They pack up and go, but let the team know that there is a priestess in one of the rooms who is always trying to invite them to convert to her faith. The group explores further, while Shamil collects scalps for the bounties. The castle is deep, and the hallway has many doors. They listen as they go, but behind one door they hear an ominous clicking noise, which prompts them to return to Shamil and discuss leaving. Before going, though, they search the other room near the entrance, finding a large sack with 50 pounds of silver coinage. Realizing that carrying all of the coinage they found would be unfeasible, they instead pile it up and leave it, planning to return with pack animals. Legolas suggests that they return to Caldwell and tell him the job is done, collect the money from him, then return to claim the loot that they found before Caldwell and his people arrive. It is pointed out that they don't need to inform him that the job is done quite yet. They still have plenty of time. Back at the keep, they claim the bounty on the scalps and sell the gem for 50 royals. Then they plan to acquire a mule and head back to the castle. The decision to lie to Caldwell that the job is done is still up in the air. But what will the lawful characters among them do, I wonder? It is at this point the session is called, and the next one is scheduled. The Clearing of Castle Caldwell is one of 5 mini-scenarios in this module, B9, Castle Caldwell and Beyond, by Harry Knuckles? Seriously? Harry Knuckles? Oi. Anyway, this scenario, and the others in the module, are a bit of a mixed bag. They're not the best written modules, but they are very playable, especially with little tinkering from a DM. As a general rule, I quite love mini-scenarios like this that can be slipped into any existing game. This specific scenario, the Clearing of Castle Caldwell, is a great starting scenario for low-level characters. The setup is basic enough. A wealthy merchant buys a castle, but is infested with squatters and he wants it cleared. Negotiations take place, and if the players take the hook, off you go. scenario itself doesn't actually give any justification for the disparate variety of creatures inhabiting the keep, so it's on the Dungeon Master to provide a reasonable explanation. The DM here simply asks himself, what if a group of relatively friendly goblins decided to open a wayside inn for weary travelers? And voila! The presence of bandits, traders, kobolds, goblins, and even a priestess suddenly works well enough to maintain verisimilitude. The dangerous creatures and animals are all locked away in rooms, which is easily explained as having been done by the goblins to keep their residents safe. While like many players, the PC group here went right for the violent option, but the setup of a small community of squatters doesn't immediately have to lend to that approach. It's easily feasible for a group of smart players with charismatic characters to simply have the squatters leave of their own volition, or even recruit them to the task if rolls are high enough, making for the acquisition of treasure and payment a far easier process. In this case, as you saw, the players outright butchered the goblins, but convinced the traders to leave peacefully. There are still several rooms for the group to clear out, so we'll see how they fare in the next session. Oh, look! My hat! Weird. Seems to be wet. What is that strange smell of asparagus again? Why does that keep happening? I think I'm just going to put it down for a bit. Anywho, I shall see you anon, my friends.